Good morning, everybody. You tuned back in to Crackcore. Thank you very much for tuning in today. We've got another fun one today. First of all, can I just remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like the video and do all of that niceness. Thank you for watching this far. Okay, so in the UK, for context, it's the 27th of November today, 2021. Here in the UK, it's snowing actually, yeah. Just as a bit of added side note. But here in the UK, we have just heard that there is a new variant of this killer virus. So basically, if you've watched any of my other videos, and if you've just kept yourself up to date with the, as they call, the scuttlebutt, or whatever it is, I've probably got that wrong. But if you're up to date with all of the stuff with regarding this, globally, because this is a global thing, orchestrated and stuff, then you will know that in the UK there has been put in place the potential for what was called Plan B, and I think a Plan C eventually. I think there was a Plan C, but there's probably a Plan Z at this point. And if you're in America, that means Plan Z. But anyway, just on that note though, isn't that funny? The Americans have Z and we have Z. We still call the film World War Z World War Z. Funny that, isn't it? Even though you would expect in the UK for us to say World War Z, but no, we don't. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but I think for the predominant amount of people I've met, they say World War Z. It's funny. But anyway, a bit of an anecdote there. But anyway, so what this Plan B said was there may be a necessity, should there be an upsurge for, of cases or new variants or, severities and stuff, of this killer virus. Should there be the need for any of that, there might be a need for a, more restrictions, more lockdowns and this kind of stuff. Also, if you've noticed recently on the front of the papers in the UK, and I mentioned this in another video, in fact, I think it was my last one, boosters to save Christmas. Well, isn't it funny? It all seems to be happening just in time for Christmas. Now, if you know anything about this corrupt regime, what they do is they work on the basis of panic and fear, and they use your own emotions against you in this regard. Now, if you think on a normal basis, that's bad enough. But then you add Christmas into the mix. How important is it for people to celebrate Christmas? Well, it's very important, isn't it? For most people, I mean, God bless those people that haven't got the ability, whether it be financial, whether they've got no family, perhaps they're just unable for whatever reason. God bless those people that aren't able to celebrate Christmas. My heart goes out to you, and I say a prayer for you. Because Christmas is a wonderful time, should you be in the right set of circumstances to enjoy it. But you put that into the mix. I mean, we're talking about, common Western civilization, the standardized society here. Most people celebrate Christmas, and most people really enjoy it. And they see it as that part of the year that is the most important. In fact, for some people, it's more important than birthdays. So, you add this into the mix. You tell people, that not only are they afraid and all of these kind of things of the propaganda that's already been put out there, now you're saying, well, if you don't follow, you can't have a Christmas. This shock and panic, this fucking fear of not being able to have Christmas is just another layer. And have you noticed, like I've said, this has all come out now. just in time for Christmas. It happened the same last year. Please tell me there are people out there that have got a good memory. I mean, you don't need that much of a good memory to remember last year. But, I don't know, with all the brainwashing that's took place over the last year and all the fear-mongering and keeping people like rabbits in the headlights, I could, you know, believe that there are people out there that don't remember this time last year. I know there are many people that can't remember that it's actually been a year, or 2 years, should I say, pretty much, since all of this started. People are like, where did 2021 go? Exactly, because people haven't been thinking about the present, have they? They've not been living in the present. And this is the point. This is what they're doing to people. They don't want you living in the present because that's where your ultimate power is. As a human being, look into any esoteric study and they will all say you need to be in the present in order to fully experience and have control over life. Command your own life by being in the present. That's what they say. So if you've been taken out of the present, you've quite literally been not looking at anything for the past year, hence it's passed you by. Fucking simple. But anyway, so yeah, people might not be able to remember what happened this time last year, but let me tell you, it was the fucking same scenario. But this time, this is the fucking kicker for me. And I'll tell you what, it's had me laughing all morning. There is now, get it right, there is now a fucking hashtag for the new variant. Apparently, there's a new variant and it's coming from Africa. Go and look at it. It's mad because they're telling you that the people that are bringing it over, the people that have had this new variant, are all vaccinated and stuff. They're all double jabbed. So, you know, it makes one wonder, doesn't it, whether this is just a lie to cover up the adverse reactions. It makes you wonder that maybe, you know, this is what they're bringing out. And it's some people, if you remember, at the start of this fucking jab rollout, some people said that this would be the case, that they would bring out something at an opportune moment to try and mask the adverse reaction stuff. And if you think about it, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it is a possibility considering the fact that these people that are apparently bringing the new variant in, I mean, first of all, you'd have to accept that there's a variant at all, but or even any of it's real at all. But I mean, we're obviously working on the basis that perhaps it is because we're being told it is, so you've kind of got to approach it in that way. You've got to fight fire with at least, you know, a spark. But apparently these people that are bringing this new variant in are already fully jabbed. So you've got to say, you know, it does add some amount of credence to that claim that perhaps this could be masking some adverse reactions and stuff. But anyway, that's all by the by. That's not the point I'm making. Fucking hell, there's a guy on a motorbike there and it's fucking snowing out. Well, it's not now, but it has been, and the roads are full of slush and sludge. He is a fucking soldier. He's got bollocks the size of melons. Hats off to you, sir. Hats off to you. Anyway, let me get my hat back on because it's cold. Let me get the sun out of my eyes because I need to see where I'm going. So anyway, there is now a hashtag in the UK. I don't know if it's worldwide, but in the UK they have now hashtagged the variants, and I find this hilarious because, I mean, isn't it just fucking perfect? We're living in this modern world, this modern technological world where now everything has to be fucking like concentrated into something in its digital format. It has to be micronized, doesn't it? Into a hashtag. I mean, since when did viruses get hashtags? I mean, for fuck's sakes, since when did a fucking virus have a hashtag? I mean, is it just me? Am I the only one here that thinks that's really fucking funny? I mean, how pathetic. It's fucking insane. You know, I'm gonna have to fucking use the I word again. It's insane. Hashtag new variant. I mean, what are people going to start doing? You know, wearing hats, wearing t-shirts. You know, are they going to have a fucking COVID cartoon with the fucking, you know, a superhero as a fucking one of those things with the little legs coming off it? I mean, remember the biker mice from Mars and the attack of the killer tomatoes or whatever it was? They're going to have a COVID one, aren't they? Hashtag fucking new variant. Oh my god. Fuck Superman. It's going to be COVID man. I mean, this is the fucking level of madness we have reached. A virus is now a personality with a hashtag. Utter craziness. I don't get it. It's almost like, I don't know. In fact, I don't know what it's like. I was going to try and make fucking some sense of it there, but I don't think you can. There is no sense to be made. There just is no sense. I haven't got a square to spare. Oh my god. So anyway, that's part one done. That's part one of this fucking mad world video. Part 3. This insane world, part 3. That's part 1 done. And part 2, we're delving. Oh, we are delving, man. I heard recently, I was watching an interview. I can't remember where I saw this interview. It was probably on one of Dark Journalist's videos. And it was probably an interview with Joseph Farrell. I can't remember. However, Dr. Joseph Farrell, may I say. As I correct myself there. But I can't say for sure. It was probably that, but I can't remember. This particular person on this interview said that with all of this trans-humanist agenda stuff, hashtag new variant, let's stay serious. With all of this trans-humanist agenda stuff, apparently all of this is leading us into transhumanism. Now, I made a video 2 years ago, no, about a year and a half ago, called Lockdown 2020, What's It All About? And I did intentionally make the name really cheesy like that. A bit like a pinpoint presentation. A PowerPoint, sorry. I intentionally made it as such. I thought it was funny. But anyway, I said on that video, you know, where is this leading? Is it towards the transhumanist agenda? Because at that point, in the very early stages, people were kicking off about things. Oh, where's that guy on the motorbike again? People were kicking off. He didn't get far. People were kicking off about things like 5G. Christ, the sun's in my eyes. Crikey. And that would tie into all of this because, you know, it is a grid of, you know, technology that you could be able to utilize in a way to command things at a higher rate. It would make it easier to set up a command grid for certain types of technology. You know, because it can carry more information and stuff. So, hats off, brother. Just had to nod to the motorcyclist there because he's got balls of steel. So anyway, you've got this fucking transhumanist agenda vibe. And back then, people were just starting to talk about it, but nobody really wanted to acknowledge it because it was a bit out there. And it was hard to talk about because everybody was kicking off on the internet about the 5G stuff. And if you mentioned 5G, even if you typed it, your post on whatever social media format got fucking completely obliterated. And that was like the buzz for all of this anti-truther propaganda. I mean, they came down hard on anybody and went out of their way massively to discredit people that were talking about 5G and the possible implementations of it, even though this was the stuff that was mostly backed by science, because there was people out there with EMF readers and stuff that were walking past these antennas and measuring it, giving information about these things that can be utilized as weapons that work on this gigahertz technology in the same kind of wave band as all of this Wi-Fi stuff that's now being used. And people were burning the towers down. People were starting to unite, and I've mentioned this before. All of a sudden, all of the racial stuff kicked off again, which separated the people, gave a distraction, a massive one as well. And we've never gotten back to that sort of unity since, where people were coming together against a common cause. People were starting to look into all of this, look into the money trails in all of this, and they started to trace it back to certain people, and it was amazing. People were starting to see all of this. And I would fucking, and I'm going to have to quote Dark Journalist here, because I think this is the most perfect way to describe Bill Gates. He calls him Bale Gates. Now, fucking hell, that's perfect. So from now on, I'm going to have to steal that, and I'm going to have to plagiarise that name. Hashtag Bale Gates. Fuck it. Triple stamped it. But anyway, people started to realise that he was playing a massive part in all of this globalist takeover stuff. Then all of a sudden the world got separated. But anyway, you know, that's just a little bit of bit of a round-up history there. Round-up being the opportune word, because that kind of brings into all of this as well, although I won't go into that, because I haven't gone long enough for this video to actually go into all of that stuff. You know, this sun is bright. Crikey. I hope you can still see my face. As long as you can hear the voice. Christ, it's bright. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Sun, for giving life. But yeah, so all of this transhumanist agenda stuff back then was being spoken about. But you see now, it seems as though, I mean, it could potentially be. I mean, you look at all of these jabs, all right? Now, that's doing something to rewrite DNA. It's got to be. Because I saw a video yesterday of fucking Bill Gates talking about, he had this model in front of him, like made out of plastic. And it was a strand of DNA. It was like a helix of DNA, like a double helix thing. And he was saying that through the administration of these RNA things, it can go in, cut away a piece of your DNA, and then add a fresh piece. Funnily enough, as well, all of the DNA stuff that he had on the table that was all made into like a double helix was all multicoloured, and the bit that he had was grey. Now that, in my opinion, is very poignant. Because what is grey? Well, you know, it's like steel, isn't it? Like robots. It's kind of a nothing colour, isn't it, grey? So, I don't know, maybe that had some significance, maybe I'm looking too far into it. By the by, it doesn't matter. But he had this piece of grey plastic that was identical to that which he'd taken out, and it replaces, it cuts out the DNA on a micro. You got to think, your DNA is fucking microscopic. It's beyond microscopic. It is so small. It's fucking like the fabric of the universe. It's like the fucking, you can't see the air, but there is something there, isn't it? It's based and it's made up of something. It's that small. You probably need one of these spectrometer things to see it. But anyway, it's able to go in there and cut out a piece of your DNA. And he's saying, and this is the fucking key point, that they can go in there and take away that which causes disease. Okay, so it's going to be convenient, and they're bringing it in on this basis that it's going to be good for you. And that's what it said on this podcast that I watched. It said, what they're going to do with this transhumanist agenda is they will start to bring it in under the guise of being good for you, and probably under the guise of being able to heal diseases for people. Because guess what? At this point, everybody's terrified of death. I mean, nobody really wants to die anyway, do they? Even if they fully fucking understand and believe that there is an afterlife. People are still, I think, on some level afraid of death, because we don't ever really know. You know, you get people that have had these, life after death experiences and come back, And they're probably the exception of people that actually go, well, actually, no, there's something on the other side, and I'm not afraid of it. In fact, I can't wait to get back. So, but that being said, the majority here of people are afraid of death. Anyway, but then you add to the mix the fucking fear porn that's been fucking dished out over the past couple of years. People are now absolutely, unequivocally terrified of death. Now then, disease, the NHS, all of these fucking health services are going to go bust. Trust me. It's all going to be privatised. No one's going to be able to get any free healthcare, and everybody's going to have to suffer with disease. Over the next 10, 20 years, people are going to start suffering from disease because all of these things are going to go out the fucking window. Mark my words. Well, that's the way I see it happening anyway. If we stay on the current path. Then all of a sudden, they're going to say, oh yeah, but by the way, we can now cure disease. We just administer these injections that then puts this technology, probably nanotech, into your body. They call it, was it CRISPR? C-R-I-S-P-R. Look that up, because then you'll be able to find this. C-R-I-S-P-R. CRISPR. And they're able to, they'll just say, oh yeah, you know, we'll just inject this into you and we can cure you of all your diseases. And that is what they will say. Because that's what they're trying to put it across as right now. Just like this guy said on this podcast, they're making it to the point now where it's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for health. They can cure diseases. But the way that the world's going, it's going to become a necessity too. And this is the thing. They have to get you to need it. Now this is transhumanism. Because your DNA is what makes you who you are. It's what makes you human. It's pure. Now if you start to look at things on an astrological level and say, well, as above, so below. You know, what is out there in the universe? We are microcosms of the greater macro. We are mini universes. And our cells are mini uses, therefore fucking mini universes. So on and so forth. We are all direct representations of that which is greater. So if you look at your DNA then, well, that's like your own fucking personal galaxy. And that being said, if you consider that everything's like a mirror image or a fractal, like a hologram of everything else, that means that your DNA, being part of the universe, technically is the universe. Therefore, if you change that, you are disjointed from all life. You are disjointed from the very essence that you are connected to, which is the perfect and wonderful universe that we are all a part of and connected to. Now, this is getting deep. But at the end of the day, right, you've got to start looking at it like this, because this is where these people want to take you. They don't want you to be a part of the natural and beautiful universe, because that's where true evolution can happen. That's where true and utter ascension can happen. You gotta love parking sensors. So that's where true ascension can happen. That's where true development can happen. That's where you are able then to develop yourself and evolve and take yourself to a higher frequency. If you take yourself out of that by adjusting your DNA and turning yourself into something else now, a modified being, well then you are out of sync, with, you're askew now. And it's harder for you to now connect with all that is, everything around you. And everything at this point has been leading up. I mean, you've got to look at things like, it's getting warm in here, you've got to look at things like mobile phones and technology. If you're sitting there looking at this thing constantly, everyone's got a habit now. Everyone needs to go to, smartphones anonymous, if you ask me. But that is taking you away from the physical reality. As soon as you go in further and you start to use technology to adjust what's in here, you are then completely and utterly fucking disjointed from all reality. And that's very dangerous. extremely dangerous. Now, you've got to start looking at this, and you've got to start looking at things like these designer babies, because now I saw another video on a YouTube channel called Vincent Rhodes, and he had this video on there of this kind of like, it was like an advertisement for these incubation pods, and they're putting it out there again as something that's a positive, something that's like going to be good for you. And it's where premature babies are born. They can take them from the womb and then put them in this pod where they can then develop naturally in a womb-like state, so they can continue to develop naturally. Now, that potentially is a very good thing. But then at the end of it, they say, because, you know, if you can try and bring about some form of natural status or stasis to a heavily premature baby, so it can start to develop, you know, as naturally as possible, well, then that's a good thing. You know, better that than being fucking connected to all these crazy tubes in a dry incubator, you know, when it can fit in the palm of your hand. I don't know. Maybe it's better. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fucking scientist. But anyway, in my opinion, it might be a good thing. But you see, that's how they get you. Because then at the end of this thing, it says, oh, and then eventually we'll be able to just grow babies from start to finish. So you couple that with altering DNA, then you can have, and it says they've got technology where you can decide the colour of your child's eyes, the hue of their skin, and all of these things. And you go, well, hold the fuck on a minute here. You know, like, what the fuck? So you can design it, you can sit down on with a piece of paper and say, well, I want it to have this colour hair, these colour eyes, I want it to be fucking blah, 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 you know, this colour skin. What are you going to do? Say, well, I want it to have this soul as well. You know? No, I wanted that soul. You know, I wanted that reincarnation in my baby. Thank you very much. Where does this end? I mean, where does this end? Then you've got the synthetic human being that is no longer natural. It's synthetically, well, slip of the tongue, Freudian slip. It is quite unethical, but synethical. I'm fucking coining that. I'm triple stamping it like Dumb and Dumber here, and I'm saying, you know what? Synethical. That's what this is. The inefficacy of this synthetic fucking vibe. But anyway, so you've got this synthetic creation now being grown synthetically. You telling me, I mean, you look around at the world, it's natural. You're then separated from it. And if you then couple that in to what I've heard just lately with regards to the mystery schools talking about this thing called the eighth sphere, and about how that is all about, you know, the technology drawing us into this, you know, this avatar-like synthetic reality. And then you look at fucking Facebook calling themselves metaverse. Fuck me. And then now starting to talk about avatars and stuff. And you go, well, people now live their life on Facebook. They have their lives controlled by it. You're not friends unless you're friends on Facebook. It's not an official relationship unless it's Facebook official nowadays. They've got dating on there, and it's all for free, of course. Oh yes, it's all for free. There is nothing free from these people unless there is a price that you can't fucking act, because there's more things than money. Trust me. To these people, money is what they use. Money's the trap. Money is what they use to control us. Money isn't currency for them. Money allows them to live within our world that they've created for us and lord it up over us because we accept the money as our God. So, or at least money is in a godlike position in all of our lives because we can't technically survive without it. So that's what they use. It's the trap. It's the fucking illusion. It's the ensnarement, the web that they use. But to them, real currency is us. It's our soul. It's our fucking existence. It's our servitude. You know, there are deeper things than just money out there, and there are greater currencies than money. You know, energy. I believe it to be true. there are probably some people that have gotten to this point at 30 minutes thinking this guy's fucking rambling and talking shit. But trust me, these people want other things than money. So if you're not having to pay money for it, you're paying in something else. Now, what is it that Facebook gets from you? Well, it gets your fucking life. It gets everything about your life. Your likes, your dislikes, your fucking photos, where you live. They've got a profile on everybody. They know absolutely everything about everybody. That is more important than money. You can't buy that. It has to be given. So anyway, look at where this is all heading. Look at where it's taking us. It's kind of pushing part of society. And I say part because I truly believe that only part of society will end up going for this. I do believe at some point there's going to be a fork in the road, and you're going to have a certain amount of people that go down this transhumanist path that want to just allow themselves through either whatever, fear of death, the need for, I don't know, wanting to be part of the flock, I don't know. Whatever it is, they're going to go down this transhumanist vibe, and they're going to go, okay, no problem. We're going to have all of our DNA altered because what's the harm? Because they're not spiritually attuned anyway, even though everybody has the potential to be. And they're going to go off down that path, and they are going to end up in this thing, what they call the eighth sphere. That's going to happen. You're going to have to say goodbye to a lot of fucking people here. And they're going to be close relatives and loved ones. Trust me. A lot of people are going to go for this. And they're going to try and force you into this. They're going to try and shame you and tell you that this is the way forward. But trust me, it's not. There are going to be, well, it is for them. And you know what? Fine. Fair enough for them. But it's not for me, and I'm sure it's not for a lot of other people. Then you're going to find this other group of people that want to stay that which makes them human. They want to remain in tune with the essence of everything, that is, all that is. And they're not going to be altered. They're going to be genetically human. They're going to be, spiritually attuned. And that is the path then that are going to go off into, whatever, being able to evolve themselves into a higher vibrational existence. Now, obviously, there's lots of this mumbo jumbo going around and people talking about this, living in love and light and all of that. I believe in all that, trust me. Yes, you should live in love and light, but you should be ready for war at the same time, because shit's going to get real, Even the Archangel Michael had a fight, Even he had a scrap with the devil, apparently. So you can be an angel and still crack some fucking commie skulls. So, if you can't make yourself laugh, who can you make laugh? So, then you got to look at this alien agenda, this alien fucking, this extraterrestrial narrative. Who have been the ETs that have been commonly mentioned? I mean, obviously there are fucking, quite possibly, if you look at how big the universe is, there are probably every single variation that you could ever possibly imagine out there of life form that are sentient. I mean, look at things like octopi and fucking squid. Isn't it something along the lines of they've checked DNA and realised that actually they didn't originate on Earth? I mean, that's fucking amazing, man. And yet people still eat them. Fuck's sakes. But anyway, I'm not a vegetarian, but I choose not to eat that anymore. I mean, crikey. Makes me feel sick to think I was eating something that is more intelligent than me, potentially. Fucking hell, what a fucking heresy. But anyway, let's not go down that path of personal fucking judgment. The two groups that you hear most about, in fact, there's three. You've got what are known as the Nordics, the Pleiadian type, that look human. And then you've got the Greys, but apparently the Greys are said to work for the reptilians. Now, I don't know about any of this to be true. However, I have had personal experience with certain things on on an alien vibe. And I can say, out of personal experience, that I do believe that a lot of this is real. But anyway, you've got to start looking at it and saying, well, they say that the the Greys and that side of things are more, whether it's included with the reptilians or the reptoids or the Draco, whatever you want to call them, but whether all of they are included or not, I don't know. But needless to say, let's just say, for instance, the two, for argument's sake. You've got this group that are synthetic. Apparently, the Greys are on this mission of genetic kind of harvesting to try and bring themselves back into what it is that we are. Because ultimately, apparently they are some form of future us that went down the path of transhumanism, which then fucking just basically destroyed everything that, you know, they were through this quest, this mission to, you know, whatever it was they wanted to do. Now, whether you believe that or not, you know, that's all hearsay unless you've been told that yourself by a grey extraterrestrial. But at the end of the day, they do harvest, you know, organic material. That you hear that all the time. So they've got to be doing it for a reason, right? And then you've got this other group, the Nordics, that apparently, was it Eisenhower? It might have been Eisenhower. I'm probably getting that wrong. That had this audience with them. And they wanted to help humanity, apparently, in the ways of spiritual, you know, progression, which was refused, of course, because we want technology, you know, we want bomb, we want gun, fuck's sakes, you know, we want to blow each other up in a more efficient manner. We don't want to unite, you know, thanks mate, yeah, thanks for making the decision for all of us. So anyway, you've then got to say, well, this does lend itself to this splitting of society, because you've got this one group of higher vibrational group, this one group of extraterrestrial that seem to be on a higher plane with regards to how they see things and how they have developed spiritually and in a tune with the universe itself, i.e. the Pleiadian types. And then you've got this other group, this offshoot, that are more synthetic in nature. Now, if, for argument's sake, they are from our future and they are coming back to try and, you know, get our genetic material so they can try and fuse themselves back in because they realise they made a mistake and they're becoming, you know, in some way extinct or whatever, because they can't keep, because anytime you reproduce something, you know, with modified genetics, it does become weaker every time. It's like every time you copy something on a photocopier, the copy gets shitter every time. Not to mention, have you ever tasted a genetically modified tomato or a genetically modified apple, or, you know, something that's it has no flavour. It looks like a tomato. It feels like a tomato in your mouth. It sounds like one when you cut it, but it doesn't taste like one. It has no flavour. So for all intent and purposes, it's a tomato. But the substance of that which makes it a tomato is not there. And you see, this is where we're headed with genetically modified humans. It'll look like a human. It'll be a human by, you know, it'll sound like one. But it won't actually have the essence of a human being. And that is where these people ended up, in my opinion. And they're trying to get back. They're trying to get back. That's the fucking word on the streets, bro. You know? Now, if you look at it logically, and you see the way the world is fucking headed right now, I'm all for staying natural. I'm all for staying human. I'm all for fucking spiritual and, I don't know, vibrational fucking elevation. As he swears like a sailor. You know, cussing like a sailor on every video. Oh yeah, I want to develop all right. But I do. And I'm sure there's many others that will be on the same vibe. But there will also be this other group of people that will go the other way. And who knows, man? Maybe there are these groups of ETs that are hovering around. And maybe this has got something to do with some form of rapture. I don't know. You've got to look at the whole picture. You've got to bring the Bible into it. You've got to start looking at the whole picture to kind of see the whole picture. And in my opinion, if you start looking at all of these things, you know, a sphere has a center, you know, at which all points are equidistant. Now, you've got to fucking look and say, well, all of these things relate to the pinpoint of the nucleus, you know, the atom in the center. Again, as above, so below, man. So atomically, we're in this situation where in order to get to the actual center of the, you know, the little nut in the middle, you've got to take stock of the flesh around it in its fucking entirety. And then you can start to see where this may be headed. So on that note, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere. Thank you very, very much for taking the time to watch this video and to be with me on this journey of exploration over these last 2 years. These videos did start out as, I suppose, part of me just trying to voice and get out possibilities and trying to fucking sort things out in my own head. But as I've gone on and I've looked at other things, and the path has led me down different kind of alleyways and dark corners, my mind has been well and truly opened. And if that's come of it, then I say good. But I just hope that there are other people out there that are able to have had the same experience. And if you've joined me on this fucking journey and you've watched my videos, then hopefully you've come to the same realization as me. And in saying that, by no means am I putting myself out there, or do I ever want to put myself out there as somebody who wants to guide or lead anybody. Because there are people out there that are far more equipped to do that kind of thing. But I do understand that me being on this level in society, which is, you know, my own level, I do have a certain audience. And although there are people saying the same things as what I'm saying, in a more eloquent, in a more educated fashion, with more detail and evidence to back it up, and research, sometimes these people don't ever get seen by people on the level that I'm on. Because certain people are either afraid to look at these things, don't understand these things, you know, or for whatever reason, they don't actually come into contact with that level of, you know, where these people are and how they're putting out the information. So I suppose this is, my own common translation of, you know, the things that I've come across and the things that I find interesting. So to some degree, I suppose, I hope that through me, I am getting some of this very important information out there, and people are enjoying it and it's helping people. But at the same time, first and foremost, and moreover, I hope that through me and through what it is that I've said, people have gone on to research these other people and to find out from these other people, you know, the actual stuff which is put across in a better way and in a more educated way, like I said. I hope that through me, people have used me as a stepping stone to get to those higher levels where, you know, the information is put across in a better way, in a more educational manner. I hope that that has been the case. And on that note, I'm going to say love and peace to all things everywhere, not just here, not just on Earth, but I mean everywhere, fucking universally. Let's spread that love and let's be a beacon of positivity and hope and love for the whole universe. And let's just radiate that energy. But remember, at the same time, be ready to fight. Be ready for war. It's like I said, even Archangel Michael, being an angel, cracked some commie skulls. And on that note, this is Crackcore signing off. Peace.